Questions like, why are we here? What happens when you die? Where did we come from? And is there a God?
The U.S. government has been shown to have had a long-term interest in Scientology.
This is a practical course here.
I know this is an illusion, or dream, or call it the way you want to call, you know?
We are a bigger threat to the people who are secretly trying to control this planet than any other group on this planet.
But the problem with an atheist is he believes that his belief is based on fact.
Oh, it's wireless. Yeah, you got wireless one.
He's impressive. He's a powerful guy.
I can't make this shit up.
The leaders of this are not just after our church, they're after the whole of this planet.
He was put here to work out his own salvation. And we feel in Scientology that we've made a very big stride in that direction.
Howdy everybody, and welcome to the Indie Scientology podcast. I'm your host, Andy Nolch, the Space Cowboy, and isn't it lovely to be here listening to the good old Strauss? This is a podcast for Scientologists who are not members of the church, the Free Zone. For people new to Scientology, this podcast is all about that odd religion you might have heard about, Scientology. It's a collection of self-help books and mind exercises that became a religion in the 1950s. It was created by American sci-fi author L. Ron Hubbard, who holds a world record for the largest amount of written works ever. Today's show is a guest interview with Richie West. How did you like the last show with Joe Blow? Obviously that's not his real name. He was an anonymous one. If you liked it, please subscribe, click like, share, write a review. It all helps to promote the show and get the truth out there, because the truth really is out there. So is today's episode, another down the rabbit hole. Whoa! It's now time for us to go down that rabbit hole into the interesting world of Scientology, where up is down and down is up, where left is right and right is left, where what you thought was impossible is possible. Welcome to the show on this Tuesday, the 3rd of March, AD 70. Hello, welcome. The show is now on BitChute. Well, it's been on there for a few months, but I haven't had a chance to announce it. So it's on BitChute, which is like it's like YouTube, but with more freedom of speech. It's pretty cool. BitChute, check it out. We got here a Free Zone success story. This is from the Advanced Organization of the Great Plains in Kansas City, and it goes a little like this. The basic Dianetic auditing course was my first with the AOGP. I was impressed with the amount of information available to me in the online course room. I have dictionaries, references, and materials all available instantly. As to the course itself, I did the Hubbard Dianetic Auditor course in the church, and it was alright, but a little confused. The material was drawn from Book 1 and a series of lectures introduced before Science of Survival. What the AOGP does is to show the standard tech references that show that LRH had made later refinements to Book 1 auditing. It was a revelation to discover the true LRH basic Dianetics auditing. I want to thank Jonathan Burke for setting up the AOGP, Michael Selhilovic for my course supervision, LRH for blazing the path, and everyone else involved in KSW in the field. J.R. Wow, that was a fantastic Free Zone success story. I feel like that could have made an infomercial or something. It was very well written. Yeah, I'm with the AOGP online course room. I'm doing the Data Evaluators course. Now it's time for Comment of the Week. And this is on my video about Justin Craig, exposing him about being a potential OSA agent. And this comment, I think, was from Scott Gordon. And it says, Ralph Hilton and I both deconstructed the Infinity Procedure on Scientology Research Institute. Infinity Procedure, by the way, if you don't know, is a reference to some of the new tech this supposed reincarnation of LIH is releasing. Justin Craig and or his possible think tank handlers have been taking advantage of our ignorance of expanded Dianetics, knocked out of orgs by Dave Miscavige and Ray Mithoff using a confidentiality excuse. But the rundown is nevertheless available in your tech volumes. Offering a modified version of the Sanderson once handled rundown from expanded Dianetics and converting it to fit OT processing was a brilliant adaptation, even if it would have been forbidden by LIH. This is what was done to create Infinity Procedure. Running this on OTs who are out of things to do on the bridge is also brilliant, and I will admit it works, and I wrote a technical briefing as to why this works. This is picking the low-hanging fruit on one's case. Finally letting the OT audit their own case and their own wants handled, which was the next logical step after OT8. Calling it a replacement for the lower bridge is, in LIH's words, a tech degrade and suppressive. Reference, tech degrades. If a Class 0 can figure this out, then surely the OTs running this can see it. It does not invalidate the procedure or say it doesn't work. It just points out that it is not new. It is not standard. It just works as well as a general rundown and is a welcome contribution to kind of a new OT8 expanded, based on LIH's promise that you would be able to audit you. I have no idea whether this guy is LIH or not, but I have a hard time believing that he would come back as a violent criminal con artist who was subjected to the California prison system where MK Ultra mind control was first pioneered on prisoners. Charles Manson was one of the first well-known subjects. Yeah, it seems like that whole Charles Manson thing was some sort of botched CIA operation. For those who do believe Justin Craig is LIH returned, they should at least put ethics in him on this one thing. LIH, the founder, worked hard for decades and hundreds of hours of lectures to get it through to people that cases must be given lots and lots of processing with a variety of approaches and not shortcut on their grades. For a few years before recognizing the mistake in 1970, he allowed quickie grades because he believed running past one floating needle for a grade was disastrous. He then realized the error and called for thorough grades and lots of auditing to accomplish stable releases. HCOPL tech degrades was from then on considered as important as KSW, since it was recognized as vital in keeping Scientology auditing working. So that's it. That's Scott Gordon's comment, and that's a great comment, and that's also really well written. My God, you could use that in an infomercial. But yeah, that's good. That's totally good, and I like how he's honest. He says it seems to work. It seems like he's implying that people can get wins from this Infinity Procedure. But he says, but it's not standard tech, and he also calls out how this LIH reincarnating guy is encouraging people to skip their bridge. So I really like that. I really like it. It's honest, and it's just like boom, and it makes you. It kind of explains why some people have adopted this criminal's Infinity Procedure, really, because maybe they are getting some wins from it. But it's just like, you can do. There's heaps of other practices and religions. There's heaps of things you can get wins off. You know what I mean? It doesn't really mean that much, But my criticism of him is that he's trying to skip people on the bridge and stuff, and give him a quickie bridge like he personally had a quickie bridge. So yeah, I wouldn't go near his Infinity Procedure until I'd done pretty much most of the bridge. So now it's time for a Scientology joke, and it goes a little like this. So the Scientologist dies and goes up to heaven. When he approaches the gates, they don't quite know what to do with him. He explains how he is an auditor and has helped lots of people and also has completed the OT levels. So the angel at the gate says that he had better go see God about this. He gets taken to a door that has God written on it and enters the office. Sitting at the desk is LRH. I knew it, exclaims the Scientologist. No, LRH explains. God's in cramming. I'm God held from above. Okay. I think someone sent me that in an email. That was good. Send those Scientology jokes and success stories. I want to hear about them. It's now time for today's guest interview with Rich West, the YouTuber. We discuss some pretty out there stuff. The prison planet. Pretty deep stuff. This guy knows his stuff. Let's dig into this. Chuck on a big pot of tea. And let's hear some talk about the world's most interesting and controversial religion, the Cadillac of cults, Scientology.
After all, we haven't been invited, and curiosity often leads to trouble. Goodbye, Dinah. Goodbye.
Today's guest interview is with Richie West. He is a popular YouTuber who has studied Scientology and makes videos about spiritual and conspiratorial subjects. In particular, the Earth being a prison planet theory, which maybe he doesn't like me calling it a theory, but that doesn't matter. I would love to hear what he has to say about that topic. It's probably the deepest conspiracy going around. It's the bottom of the rabbit hole. So Richie West, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. And we can go with Rich, I think. I haven't been called Richie in like years. But yeah, let's just start with the theory that Earth is a prison planet. Now,
you recently made some videos about it, right? And
yeah,
you were talking about the Farsight's investigation into it. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, well, I've been thinking it was a prison planet for a very long time, for over 40 years, doing past life regression work. We find out some stuff from myself, past life stuff, but given other people sessions, and you go, oh, this is a great story. And then other people have given other people sessions, and this story sort of formulated, and it makes common sense. If it's above as below sort of thing, if we're having war and prison and fighting and all this stuff here, if you're buying into the idea that Earth is a globe and not flat, then it's easy to buy into the space opera and the space and the galactic civilization concept. And so there'd be war and commerce and all kinds of civilization and stuff going on out there just in our universe or just in our galaxy. And it would be possible for bad guys to imprison the good guys. So where are they going to stick them? They're going to stick them all kinds of places. So it kind of makes logical sense that way.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that in a simple physical universe on Earth situation, we've got prisons. So why wouldn't, if there's more dimensions or more planets, why wouldn't there be prisons that are just a more advanced version of a basic prison we have here?
Yeah. And it's good to go with it as a theory or an opinion, or for some people it's a prison, for some people it's a paradise. It's all about the mindset and what you believe and how you think it, and with your beliefs you create your reality. And your reality isn't necessarily it's not the physical stage upon which the play is being played out. It's just the stage. There's a story there, and you're the star, and the life you experience is based upon the story you tell yourself, which is based upon what you believe. And so if you believe this is a prison planet, you got one. It's a prison planet. Yeah. If you believe it isn't, then it isn't. it does get that simple.
Yeah.
But I would like to talk about the far side stuff.
Yeah. And before, when you mentioned the past life regression, right? And you're basically implying that you were collecting data during the past life regression that supports the prison planet theory. So can you explain to me what sort of data were you collecting? I imagine there were incidents. Is there incidents where you come across force fields? Is that pretty much what you're saying? Because I remember I spoke to a guy once who wasn't this was when I was involved with the Church of Scientology. He was new to Scientology, so he was new to all these. He was new to the spiritual side of life, but he told me about some funky dreams he'd had. Dreams where he would leave his body and he would be at nighttime looking at his body, and being a wog, this was blowing his mind. And he told me that he went up and he perceived some sort of force field around the earth. So is this what you're saying? People are having incidents where they're perceiving force fields?
I haven't seen one myself, but yeah, a lot of people are saying that, and a lot of people have done this investigation. Now, a lot of information I get from this is from out-of-body experiences. I've learned how to do that, and I've gotten out a lot, and I've learned about what it's like to be on Earth and off Earth and in between. And so I give a lot of credit to people who have gone out of body and have experienced these different phenomena. And there's people that they can see the grid around the earth. I can't, and I've never encountered it, and it's never bothered me, and it hasn't imprisoned me on earth. It's like you can be inside of a prison as a spy, as a counter agent, as something, but you're not imprisoned.
So maybe
it's a prison.
So it's almost like with you and other people who can leave Earth, right? It's like maybe you don't have maybe the implant or something, or you don't have whatever the people who are being trapped here have, because you can go through the force field. Yeah.
Well, and there's another phenomena involved. It's like, let's say, here's Earth, and here's, let's say, just another planet on another solar system here in our galaxy, and here's the force field around Earth. When you learn how to consciousness shift, it's like teleportation. You're not getting in your astral body or your second body and bouncing into a force field. You just go wink out and wink in.
That's it. It's the way you're doing it that's making you. Yeah, I get it now. You're not traveling. You're teleporting. Whereas this other guy who had this experience I was talking about was actually doing some sort of traveling. So that's why he was hitting. I guess that's possibly why maybe the powers that be really hate people getting taught this technique you're talking about, because it's a way out.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people have it. It comes natural to lots of people, while other people who are learning to get out of body or astral project, if you go from the idea of astral projection or astral travel, then that's travel. You will literally experience the vibrations in your body. If you stay awake when the body falls asleep, you'll wake up and you'll be superimposed on your physical body, and you can lift up and look around in your room, but you're seeing your astral version of it or etheric double of it or something like this. It's just a label, but what you're seeing is your room, but it's not the physical, it's the astral. So now you look around and you get out of your body, and then you travel, astral travel. You travel through the wall. It's not blocking you. But if you tried to go through a Faraday cage, electronic energy field, you might not be able to get through it, because it can affect the astral radiation from a physical electronic field can affect the astral version of your body, and so you can get this energy grid around the planet, and it's like it'll affect the astral body or the second body, and you can bounce into it. So if you're traveling astral projection style or astral travel style, then you'll bump into it. But if your consciousness shifting, you tune out of this vibrational plane into another one, it's kind of that simple.
It seems like some of the stuff they're doing in Farsight is more the teleporting way about it, because they're suddenly going boom and they're viewing things that are on Mars, on the moon. I'm not sure where the barrier is. The barrier is before the moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the barrier is before the moon. So I'm wondering, when you were coming across Prison Planet type information, right? Had you already heard about the theory from L. Ron Hubbard?
Yeah, that's where I first heard it. Yeah.
Okay, but when you were coming across the data, but you think you were being objective though, as in like you weren't. Do you know how you can get front loaded and stuff?
Yeah.
So you think you did a fair job of investigating it in your past life regressions and stuff?
Yeah, and actually, I came to the conclusion from doing my out-of-body travels, shifting into these other realms. That's how I really confirmed it. You know, it was a good theory. It sounded good, you know, when LRH said it, and I did all that, you know, those levels and stuff. So I know what they're all about.
Which levels did you get up to in the church?
Well, there's what I did in the church and what I did outside the church. So, yeah.
Well, what'd you get up to either?
Yeah, I got up past OT3 and Captain Bill Robertson's Stacks and Plugs. Did you ever hear about that one?
Stacks and Plugs, not?
Yeah, it's entities organized and structured in stacks, like pyramid. Like imagine these little pyramids like this, stacked up, and each pyramid is a plug. It's like a big pyramid, and you got these little pyramids that fit in, you know. So the entity issue, when you start delving into it from Captain Bill Robertson's perspective, he's called Stacks and Plugs, but it's how you take the entities out of your space.
It is like Excalibur type stuff.
Yeah. I've got Jeffrey Filbert's Excalibur stuff too. I got that back in 1984 when I bailed.
Yeah, cool. So you saw the Farsight video?
Yeah, I watched it, took notes and everything. The Farsight guys, what's really great about the Farsight stuff is you get all these different, they're all blind. They don't know what the target is. They're getting a number. They don't know if they're looking for a carnival show or a person or what. But they all nailed it. They all talked about the phenomena of a prison planet, a place where you get halfway out, but then you get put back in. You get forced reincarnation. It's called mashka, is the phenomena, Buddhist word for reincarnational cycle. And so in their remote viewing, each one of them discovered that it was a phenomenon where there's extraterrestrial, non-physical beings, very busy, making sure we move back into another incarnation. And that's just more validation from other stories I've heard from Cameron Day and the Ascended Masters and the Lords of Karma. All these metaphysical and occult sort of stories, they all fit together when you get right back down to it. Yeah. I can keep on going, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I liked it when Courtney Brown was introducing their latest investigation, which is called Death Traps, if people want to look it up.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he says, firstly, he seems excited about the data, right? Like he seems quite certain, like he goes, yeah, we are in a prison planet, right? And he says something like, over the data they've collected over the years, because you have to understand that, you know, he didn't just do this one investigation and then say, you know, that we're in a prison planet. He's been doing remote viewing for like 30 years. He's had other things come up that indicate that we're in a prison planet. And so that's probably what gave him the idea of doing that investigation. And then, so then they did the investigation, and then he's like, yes, we've got the data, it's finally in, we're in a prison planet, and he can tell it his certainty. So, because I want to say that to people who are watching this, because you're thinking probably, they might be thinking, well, that's not enough data to conclude we're in a prison planet, but it's just, you don't know all the funky stuff that Courtney Brown's been doing over 30 years, because they go and they remote view people, and sometimes they follow them when they die just by accident. It just happens. And I'm sure there's a lot of other data that he has that he could talk about the prison planet.
Oh yeah. And the other guy, Stewart, with the Technical Intuition group, I think he works with Courtney sometimes, but he's a different seer, remote viewer, and he did the one of the groups. Courtney Brown, I think, did the death traps, and Stewart did the forced reincarnation, and they blend. I mean, and they're completely separate studies and remote viewings. Yeah, but they correlate, they verify and validate each other.
So what's this? Where can you see this other thing that you're talking about? Where can you see it?
Google Moshka, M-O-S-K-A, I think, Moshka, or M-A-S-H-K-A, and Stewart. His site is Technical Intuition, and it's a remote viewing. He's a remote viewing guy, and he's got some really good remote viewers that do this stuff, and they do it blind. They get a number for a target or something, and they're not talking to each other when they do it, and they don't know what the target is except for the number, and then they just tune in. It's very psychic stuff. And Charles Tart, if you go in on YouTube and check Charles Tart remote viewing, he will start explaining to everybody how we all have this powerful ability to remote view. I've done research in that, and then we've got the Gnostics and the Mag Hammadi Dead Sea Scrolls or whatever. The Gnostics were remote viewers and out-of-body travelers, and they discovered the archons, in other words, the reptilians and the greys in the astral or in the non-physical realms, and they were, imprisoning us, and so that's a whole different angle coming at, is Earth a prison planet? And it has to do with extraterrestrial, advanced technology, and multidimensional. That's what makes it the prison planet that it is. And they're just grabbing up the good people, bright people, and criminals. Well, you've heard the stories, right? The renegades and the philosophers, the free thinkers, and those that break the rules. They're going to bring them here on planet Earth and not let us get away, because if we drop dead, all we would have to do is we can get away. But they're make sure we can't get away by programming us in all kinds of ways, our belief systems, programming us through religion and teachings and philosophies and all of this into the reincarnational cycle. And they got a lot of people believing that they have to pay their karmic debt before they can get away. So it's a lot of programming in that way. It's very advanced. It's been going on for millions of years, not just our planet, but other planets. And this would be, if you read the Terra Papers by Robert Morningsky, he will share the story of how the reptilians and the drakes, this is their preferred domination technique is mind control. So they will take entire populations, and once they capture them after the war and they surrender, they don't want to kill everybody because you can't use a dead body for anything but food. So they would control the population one way and another. And so after millions of years, they realized that some of the best ways to control a population is changing their beliefs, getting them to believe limiting things, and they do it with implants, electronic implants, and and social implanting, social engineering, all kinds of ways. But the idea is a population, not just Earth, but whatever planet is dominated, is subjugated, and they're a prisoner of their own mind, their own beliefs, which have been limited on purpose. So it's kind of like that. But again, I could keep on going.
Yeah, and you mentioned Archon interference. I mean, you mentioned Archons, and
Yeah.
I don't fully know too much about exactly that. I mean, from some of the Farsight stuff, it seems like, yeah, there totally are reptilian bases here on Earth. All right.
Yeah.
And I believe that the David Icke theory that there's like reptilian entities or whatever controlling the elite, I think that totally makes sense and it's very much possible. But
Yeah,
I don't quite understand what Archons are. So what are they?
Okay, the word archon just means lord or master. I believe it's an ancient Greek word. So when the Gnostics, and the original Gnostics were basically spiritual people who could travel out of body. They could astral travel, project, remote view. They could do all this. And they gathered tons and tons of information from their travels, and they would write it down in these texts. Now, most of that stuff was destroyed in the fire, the Library of Alexander, when it got burned down. All this great stuff about what it's really like beyond Earth and beyond the physical world, it was all there. They did all that work. And they called the beings that were controlling and dominating Earth overlords, or the lords of Earth. Just from a extraterrestrial high, we're ETs, we have advanced technology, and you're a bunch of ignorant natives, and we are subjugating, controlling, and dominating you. Okay, you are the Lord or the overlord. And the word overlord or lord is archon in this ancient Greek language. So that's all the word archon means. So you can use the word archon for a lot of different overlord types, whoever fits in the generalized category of ruler, controller, dominator. You could throw that word at them. Oh, they're an archon, but it's kind of not really well understood I think in conversation these days. But that's what it means. So the reptilian race, and there's more than one reptilian race. There's more than one kind of lizard. There's more than one kind of dragon. There's good reptilians, bad reptilians, good dragons, bad dragons. It's just unbelievable how crazy it can get. Yeah, but we're talking about a specific race of reptilians that they're really engaged in the control and domination game. And it's not just war and killing. They like to control and dominate. Now, once they've dominated a sector of the galaxy, for example, they then want to go about business, commerce, with other advanced races within our galaxy and other galaxies. So the Robert Morningsky story tells about how the reptilians have dominated the 9th sector of our galaxy, whatever that means exactly. But there's what we call the 9th passageway, which is a star lane from galactic central. And see, the reptilians they don't have control over galactic central of our galaxy. And there's really powerful beings that live there. And there's all kinds of beings in our universe and in our galaxy. And the reptilians don't have it all. This is a big galaxy. But they do have their 9th passageway, star lane, and they're protecting it. So when commerce comes in from other galaxies, or just, it's like we have wormholes and stargates and things like that to traverse. But then there's the worlds, the solar systems and various civilized realms within that 9th passageway is controlled and dominated by the reptilians. And the reptilian, per the Morning Sky story, made some deals with the Anunnaki. Originally, the Anunnaki, the ones we hear about in books here today, they were originally they had made deals with the reptilians. They themselves were a pretty fierce group. So the reptilian queens made deals with these Anunnaki kings, and then there's a whole history of their relationship and how the Anunnaki, through deals and parlays and some war skirmishes, they got control of our world, Earth, right now, as it is now. So it's owned, and so they would be the overlords. So the Anunnaki are archons, the reptilians are archons, and because they understand multidimensionality, or they have technology that helps them deal with moving from the physical world to the next world out and back, the dimensions back and forth, dimensional travel, you can say that the archons are also incorporeal or non-physical. So it just makes it a little complicated, but it's the same beings and entities who are being the overlords of planet Earth, and they would like to keep us imprisoned here so we can't break free. And they do it mainly with our belief systems, because anybody could bail out of here and not be imprisoned. And this isn't a prison planet for just everybody. It's, you got to have that limited mindset, which you can release those agreements that you agree to believe that with using soul contract revocation techniques.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think when everyone dies that they're sort of trapped here, or they get memory wiped or something like that. I think that it's probably the majority, but I think, I don't know, 10% or something can do what they want. But so you sort of, you think that so you're saying that, like the David Icke theory, that like the evil on the world and stuff is coming from these archons, these reptilians?
Yeah. I think it's from the archon, the reptilian archons, but also in conjunction with, or as allies with the giant humans. We used to have giant humans roaming the earth, and all that evidence is tried to be hidden and suppressed. But the giant humans, Anunnaki, David and Goliath, giant. Those guys, those beings, were just extraterrestrial, high-tech beings, and extremely advanced, technologically, metaphysically, philosophically, scientifically. They really have been around millions of years. So they have an extremely good grasp of the metaphysical, or the alchemical, or the non-physical aspect of the human experience. And they want us humans to get into these bodies and believe this is all we got, and we got some lame ass heaven and hell scenario, and that's all we get, basically. That's what they would like us to believe. Follow the rules, be a good boy, and you'll go to heaven. Break the rules, be a bad boy, you'll go to hell and burn forever. These are just the belief systems they want us to buy into to keep us subjugated and limited. Another big one is that they want to believe that God, the idea of God consciousness, or the creator of all that is somehow outside of an individual, but it's within us. So that's another religious teaching, is that believe that God is out there and it's another being. And then they choose themselves as the gods. So anyway, I can go on that way with the gods thing.
So when it comes to the New World Order police state, you think it's pretty much the alien takeover of Earth?
Yeah, I believe that the super rich power elite, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and that's just a couple. There's even more richer families, dynasties that we probably don't even know their names. There's called the Black Nobility is one of the groups. Dark black, as in evil and murderous and all that, and noble families. And so super rich family lines there that we don't hear about. But the ones we do know about are like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and a few others, the Reynolds, Astors, Bundys, all that. But those, we call those the 13 families or the 13 bloodlines. And it goes back past the story of Jesus, and it goes into the bloodlines of the Anunnaki. Like Moses and a bunch of others were offspring or descendants from the Anunnaki giant humanoid, human-looking giant extraterrestrial with advanced technology. Those guys that set up this place the way it is today, the Anunnaki set up the genetics and the limiting us in all kinds of ways to keep us under control. And those guys rule us through their ancestors, our descendants. And so it's through the bloodlines. And some of those Anunnaki would interbreed with human women. So you would have, they call themselves half God, half human, but they're not gods. They're just extraterrestrial fuckers, that's all. But they like to put on that big story about how they're gods and stuff. It's a great control method. And they have their advanced technology to get the limited understanding of how things work. That's the mindset of the local population. And so the local population is thinking, oh, they must be gods. They're gods. Look at all the magical things they can do. But they're just extraterrestrial advanced technology. And they're out there in the galaxy right now, duking it out, fighting, or doing commerce. Right now, they're doing this, and we're just, a lot of planets have a civilization right now that is awake, and they're part of this galactic civilization. The galactic humans, they get it, and it's commerce. It's a lot like commerce here, but it's galactic commerce. We, on this planet, we don't get to know what's going on outside our planet. We are imprisoned and controlled in the way we think. And I just go sideways. I get all pissed talking about that stuff.
Yeah, it seems like there's some sort of like intelligence operation to cover up just everything. Because I think you don't want to just cover up the truth about maybe Venus or Mars or whatever. I think they go by the philosophy of dirtying everything, so it's just all such a confusion, so it makes it a lot harder. Because I've noticed that they're covering up some things about like some evidence of the past about Egyptians being in America or Australia, just odd little things where you think, why are they even doing it? Why is there an operation to cover that up? It's just like, that's just weird. You know what I mean? But then you look at it and it makes sense if they're running off the idea that you cover up everything, you make everything as confusing as possible so the person goes into apathy and doesn't bother trying to find out the truth. It's kind of like you suppress someone who's small on YouTube. You know what I mean? It's not like you don't just pick on the big YouTubers, you also do small. You just do everything to make it as hard as possible, you know? But in Mission Earth, have you read Mission Earth by LRH?
I saw it, I grabbed it, I didn't read the whole thing though.
Okay, yeah, it's massive. It's pretty funny. It's really entertaining, but it's long. That, the evil character Rockefeller in that, and the other top evil character of the aliens, which is called Lumbar Hist, they have moments where suddenly they hear the gods talk to them or something like that, and it says something like, I can't remember what it says, but it's basically they're getting communication from gods, right? And this could be this Archon thing we're talking about. This could be David Icke's reptilians, entities or whatever. They're getting telepathic communications. And I actually think this is what, from my looking into what OT8 deals with, I actually think this is what OT8 deals with, is that connection between maybe the Archons or some sort of bad telepathic communications. Because people don't realize that, you know, you can have people, you can just look at someone, but you can have two people and one of those persons can be tapped into like another dimension and getting telepathic communications from aliens, and the other person cannot be. It blows people's minds too much. It scares them like too much to think that, you know, some people can get communications. And it seems like with people like Philip K. Dick, probably you, I noticed it with me, is that I'm getting comms from I call them good angels. I'm getting some sort of, maybe it's the Galactic Confederation of Light, but I'm being manipulated basically, right? So why couldn't bad angels do it? You know what I mean? That's what made me believe this. When I was looking into it, I was like, hold on a second. They're really, it's usually in the UFO community, like there are people who are getting influenced by beings not from here. And it's making them become freedom fighters, and it's actually helping bring about a mass awakening. So why wouldn't there be bad angels, bad aliens that are doing the exact same thing and directing people to set up a new world order?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe that the New World Order, as they used to be calling themselves, the super rich power elite, they're satanic. They worship the Satan or Lucifer, but it's a reptilian-looking, devil-looking guy, you know. And that's just a variation or a version of the look of the reptilian bunch, and they are that evil. They are that dark, or they oppose life. They're completely backwards, and what's good, what's right. You know, their idea of what is good and right and survival is exactly the opposite of the way we live. And so when you take the word live, spin it backwards, you got evil.
Evil, wow. Yeah.
So that's the essence of what is evil. It's just life lived backwards. And lived is devil when you flip it backwards. So, and then that's what they worship, the devil. And literally, I don't know how much you know about these satanic rituals and super rich power elite and the adrenochrome and the drinking baby blood and
I've heard about it. Yeah.
All this creepy shit. Yeah. So that's the super rich power elite that are controlling and dominating this world from a financial and cultural, social level. They're doing that, but they have their overlords, the ones their go-to guys, and overlord Archon. So they also are the bloodlines of these very beings, these extraterrestrial giant human types. Their bloodlines are the 13 bloodlines. This is my understanding of it.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot more to it, but yeah. And so the overlords, the archons, the reptilians, the Anunnaki giant humans, they are controlling planet Earth through their progeny, the 13 families, the super rich power elite, and they're controlling this planet. And the super rich power elite, they have their fingers in everything. You got the Freemasons, the Illuminati, and just so many other things. They will not allow the good stuff, the good technology, the brilliant discoveries to really flourish and prosper on Earth. They will suppress that stuff. So we don't have over unity devices. We don't have free energy. We don't have the Tesla technologies. We don't have any of it. And we are ignorant about life off planet. And we still got rockets. Rockets are 2,000 years old. You put an explosive in a pipe and put a point on the pipe and you light it up. 2,000 years we've been doing that. That's all we get for rocket propulsion or space travel. That's what NASA would like us to believe. And it's just not true. So the good stuff is kept secret. And sure, they use it. Now, this whole population, this whole planet it's hierarchical. Even the bad guys at some level of the hierarchy of, hey, I work for the evil guys. I don't care. I'm getting paid great. I love my life. They are in a need to know position. So they don't necessarily know what's up here. And these guys up here don't know what's up here. It's very compartmentalized, and it's a control mechanism of the very advanced, highly intelligent, off-planet overlords of this planet. And they just happen to look reptilian.
So when it comes to stuff like entity interference or BTs and stuff, if something happens with like Archon interference, like stuffing up an internet connection or something like that, I'm just trying to understand, like, that's not like really a BT thing, or like, what is it, a ghost thing? I'm just wondering how you could explain that.
Yeah. Well, when you think of the subject of entities, you have to go like, wow, the subject of automobiles
Yeah,
there
it's
are
massive.
all kinds, or the subject of vehicles. You know, there's just all kinds. So BT, body thetans, a thetan being a spirit, a life form, sentient, once upon a time sentient, or is sentient. That would be the thetan. And the body part is that they've lost their own body, and now they're attaching to somebody else's body. So we call them body spirits or body thetans, right? So we got one of those. But you know, the advanced technology for manipulating consciousness has developed over billions of years of how to implant and manipulate consciousness. Because with consciousness, a being that knows that they are a conscious creator and they just do it with their imagination, you can imagine a beautiful scene. There's mountains, there's a lake, there's a farmhouse, there's a horse and a cow, pretty flowers and a dog and 3 people talking. We are that powerful God creator beings. We can imagine that, and it becomes so. I have met people over and over and over again that create their own imaginary worlds, and they move into them like a complete out-of-body experience, exteriorized from the physical world, their physical body, and they're in this new place with full perception, touch, feel, smell, taste, and they are there. And they've created it with their own imagination. Everybody has that potential to do that, and the only thing that keeps us from that potential is our beliefs. So these other archons or these reptilians or these advanced ETs off planet, what they are about is keeping us dumbed down and ignorant about this sort of thing. And then one of the best ways to fight or oppose consciousness is with consciousness. So you take a bit, you blow somebody up, you fracture them, they get aspects of themselves get blown off in bits in here. So it's like having your 2 eyeballs get blown apart, and now you're seeing the world from 2 different eyeballs like a mile away from each other and go, what the hell? And if these 2 aspects of awareness took off and lived their own life, non-physically, and they started gathering their own experiences, they would essentially become 2 different personalities. Same awareness, but now they're 2 different personalities. Now, you grab one of these and grab one of these and you smash them back together with a lot of force. Electronic force, energy, high-tech, advanced extraterrestrial beings and physical bodies want to control and dominate a very powerful being. How do you do it? You grab a piece of that being or a piece of another being and you control this one, implant them with limiting thoughts and beliefs, give them a mission, go after that guy. And so this one, plus 1,000 more in a cluster of these entities, we call them body thetans or BTs. Now they are pounded into another person. Actually, they're pounded into our energy field mostly, and our mindset, or our physical body, or the physical body's energy field. Most of this body thetan stuff is connected and attached in that way. So if we can go exterior, get completely out of our bodies and consciousness shift out of here, we're leaving the whole BT case, the entity case, all that stuff behind, because it attaches to this. And the reactive mind is essentially the mind's survival mechanism systems, all that stuff, energy fields and memories and 3D holographic duplicated memories of our trauma. All that is about our physical body and our physical timeline. And so when we go out of body and go to these other realms, we leave it all behind. So it's like you're instantly an operating spirit being, operating thing, but you're in another realm. And that's kind of how it works. So what they do, the advanced reptilian guys, they take the entities we call BTs, and they can program them and ram them into us, and not just try to attach them to the consciousness, the being that we believe ourselves to be, but we walk around even out of body with a mindset and an energy field around that, and these BTs kind of attach to that. And
this seems a bit like black magic, where they'll do the ritual to control the demons or whatever, to go and affect that person or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
these advanced extraterrestrial, and I mean, they're literally in spaceships and planets in the physical world. You could travel there if you had the right, kind of spacecraft and all that. They're there. They keep us ignorant of what they are and the galactic civilization because they don't want us waking up to our powerful potential. And there are some beings on this planet that are kind of in a hypnotic trance, but if they woke up from it, they're incredibly powerful and they could change things really fast. And that's what the bad boys don't want. So they keep us dumbed down and ignorant on Earth with all this programming. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a bunch of questions here. Well, yeah. What's your? Sorry. What's your?
Go ahead.
Sorry. So, what's your YouTube channel again?
It's Rich2150X.
Okay, cool. And you got a website where you do like people can contact you for past life regressions. Is that right?
No, they contact me for how to get out of body and how to revoke soul contracts and entity work. Yeah, and this probably Agvila will help people with their past life stuff. But yeah, it's not something I'm doing these days myself. Past life regression work.
Oh yeah, on your own case.
Oh yeah, I'm okay. On case, yeah.
Like traumatic.
No, I'm not. I'm giving those. Yeah, I've done hundreds of hours of the Dianetic auditing or the past life regression stuff. And, yeah. But I'm not offering that as a service right now.
Oh, okay. So you're not offering traumatic incident reduction.
Mm-mm.
All right. And so
I guess I could with people that have had experience with it. The technique that we've learned and used. Yeah, I could probably do that, but I haven't been doing it lately. I guess if somebody was interested and they had some of that kind of auditing, they wanted some, I could probably do it. I found out an interesting thing. I don't know if you saw the videos, but I have a meter, and I can be holding the meter like solo, and give a person a session over on Zoom or something. I can pick up their reads.
Interesting. So they're not holding onto an e-meter can, but you are.
Yeah.
But so how do you know that's working though?
Yeah. Yes. How do you prove anything, right? But through experience, accidentally, I was seeing it was reading. Because I normally do it without a meter. I'm empathic and intuitive in that way. So for many years, I would do sessions without a meter. I did a lot of sessions with meters too. But quite by accident, I saw that I was holding on the cans. I was asking somebody else some questions and talking to them, two-way comms sort of stuff. And I'm going, what was that? I'm holding the cans. We were doing something else, and then I'm getting these reads, and I go, and I'm checking, and the reads are working on the PC.
Yeah.
Damn. So I kept doing it, and I go, this is really working. So I started giving clients sessions. So now I can help people, especially people that feel like they've been in the secret space program, but they've been mind wiped or blocked or something, or they've done the 20-year recruitment and back in time, all that wild and crazy stuff. Akvila is a very intuitive psychic beyond words. And when she sees her visuals and memory, it's like 3D holographic, it's revivification, it's whole track recall sort of thing. And crystal clear, it's like being there. And she can see other people's stuff. And if she's looking and I'm on the meter and I'm focused on her and she's focused on the client, we're picking up the reads that are the client's issues. So we've been doing that, and it's been working out very good. That's our clients have been happy with that. Isn't that weird? Talk about squirrels, right?
Yeah, I know. It's taking squirreling to a fascinating level. But I've heard about this. I've heard other people doing this or something like that. I've heard about, do you know, when they do muscle testing with applied, whatever it's called, they do the arm muscle testing or whatever.
Yeah.
They can sort of do it.
Yeah.
They can do it over the internet. They can do it, and so that will be, you know, exactly what you're saying. Like you'll be asking a person a question, and you'll be on the other side of the world, and the applied whatever person will do the muscle test on the arm, and it's like an e-meter, and it will show the effect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fascinating. But
Yeah, really
personally, I don't fully trust it, or I would rather go with the proper way. But it seems like there is some truth in that direction.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely. What was I going to say about that? We can go on. Empaths. I was going to mention empaths. People that are empathic, because I talk about this a lot, people have written into me over the years, and there's situations where people, they're just like regular people, except they're extremely over the top, too much empathic. They feel other people's feelings. They feel their aches and pains, their fear, and they can be walking into a crowd and they will feel it all.
Wow.
And some of them don't have control over it, and it makes their life pretty miserable, and they come for help. But what that is you have a being who is psychic as can be, telepathic, but telepathic on a feeling level. So this being is tapping into or merging with the other person's feeling state, and they feel it. So if this person was on a meter, and this person would focus on that person and feel that person's energy, this person would feel the energy, and it would read on this person's body, right? And it's no contact required, and you can do it remotely, and you can do it from across the ocean or around the world or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, I've got reality on these sorts of things.
You did?
Just out of curiosity, what are you planning on doing after you die?
After I die? Well, I had this one out-of-body experience, and there's a lot of options, right? I was in a non-physical realm, right? And I was out in the country, and I see this flying saucer land in a field. I go, ooh, hey, that's neat. And I knew I was out of body, not in the physical world. And I go, ooh. And so I run over toward it, and little country road, and there's leaning against a little white board fence was this little short guy, kind of dwarf looking or gnome looking.
Hold on a second. Can I cut in? Hold on a second. When you said not in the physical universe, so you didn't teleport to some other place in the physical universe. You're saying you went to another place.
Yeah, another dimensional plane. It's like fourth density reality, fifth density reality. It's as opposed to third density physical realm. There's other universes outside this one, like turning a channel, and it's like this, but stars, planets, galaxies, everything, except it's not this dimensional plane. It's another one out from this. And
so would you say a second physical universe?
You could call it that, kind of. It's like this physical universe is daddy, okay? This is kind of based on this other dimensional plane. What goes on in that dimensional plane is played out in this world. So there's galactic war in this plane. But for most people, in that realm, there is no pain and there is no unconsciousness. It's like an online computer game, virtual reality, but more, it's very real. So you're in a body and you're running around, you're doing all this stuff, and there's galactic war, there's love, there's you don't have to be in a war zone. You can be in a beautiful paradise place, but it's all a universe much like this one. And this physical universe is based upon that one. So that came first, and now somebody came up with the idea of creating this density, this hardcore with all the laws of physics and stuff. And it was a new playground for spiritual beings that were running around in this higher plane. And so, let's go play in the physical universe. So it's just a shift in consciousness. You kind of tweak it, like just refocus. And now you're in the physical dimension. And maybe you're with a body or not in a body, but what's the fun in just being a camera floating around in a space? So people would shift a little bit more, and then they would get into a physical body one way or another. They'd go into way back when this physical universe was a little bit different than it is now. You can just move in and out of the physical bodies, adult bodies, real easily. But now we're born into them, and we grow up in them and all that stuff, and we're caught up in this. Used to be, we would get a physical body, but we weren't stuck in it like we are now. This place is degraded, and our physical bodies have become a cell within the prison. Every body part in your physical body is a cell, has cells, and consciousness is in each cell. And when people can't get out of the cell, they can't get their consciousness out of the physical body's cells, you can call it a prison. So anyway, it used to be that you could come and go from the physical world and back into fourth density reality easily. You can move back and forth. Now, not so much for most people, at least Earth people. So yeah, there's another plane, dimension out there. And so that's where I was, in this other dimensional reality. And I saw this little spacecraft flight. I go, ooh, how exciting. Ooh, I'm going to go check it out. And so I met this little guy, and I go, hello. And he goes, hi, we're here to talk to you, Rich. And I'd had hundreds of out-of-body experiences, but nobody ever called me by my first name that I use in the physical world. So it really
hold on a second. Was this like an elf? An elf? Or no?
Yeah, kind of an elf, kind of an elven guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then what happened?
Well, yeah, I said, yeah, hi, and I'm looking at the ship, and he says, you want to check it out? You want to come on board? I go, yeah. So I walked with him up, and it had a ramp, and I walk up the ramp, and I go inside, and there's like 4 or 5 elven. This one looked a little more like gnomish, the Irish gnome-looking guy. But
do you think
inside
Clockwork
we're
Elves?
elven-looking.
Have you heard of Clockwork Elves?
No, I haven't.
Like the DMT Clockwork Elves and that sort of stuff?
I haven't heard that.
Okay, well, anyway.
No. But the classic elven look, though, they're about 3.5 to 4 feet tall, maybe. Some of them are taller, 4.5 feet. Slender, young-looking, and they were just hanging out like they were on a break or something from working, and they were just kind of hanging out. And I walked through, and they're all very kind and loving and like my people. I felt like they were glad to see me, and I just, hi, and they're all like just watching. We go up the ramp, and then the little guy, the hair and the beard, he says, hey, I want to show you something. Okay, so I follow him down this hallway. All these doors, he opens one door, and I go inside, and it's a beautiful apartment. It's the living quarters. I mean, it's like exactly my style. It's like, wow, there's a fireplace here and a nice couch, and there's a big window that looks out over a park, and there's the kitchen area with a little chandelier, kind of like this, but different. Just absolutely gorgeous, and it was so beautiful. And the guy says, "This is for you, Rich, when you're ready." And I just got tears in my eyes. I was just overwhelmed with, wow, how awesome is this? And so then I woke up from that experience in my bed, and I had tears in my eyes in my physical world too. I go, whoa. So I never got, what is the mission? What are you guys doing? But that might be where I go back when I leave here. I'm going to go back there, visit, and say, tell me more about this. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
and
it's interesting.
I might go with them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know there's something to these elf thingos, because when people have DMT experiences, they see them, and so if just one person randomly saw a creature like this, then it'll just be their imagination. But when multiple people see it and they haven't been front loaded, they haven't been told about them, and then they see them, then it means that it's some sort of communication to some other dimension where these beings live. There's different ways of making contact. You can do it mentally or you can do it physically, and it seems like it's easier to do it mentally than physically.
Yeah, you can, when you learn how to get out of body, then you will start encountering all kinds different ways. Your vibration, your focus, and your interest all play a part, and your beliefs, and who you're asking for help and all that stuff, guidance, all play a part in where you go when you do go out of body. When you consciously go from here, you go, and you're in some new place. And some people have great control over that, and some people are just like, whatever, by chance. But I learned a lot with all the out-of-body experiences and, the past life regression work I've done, and talking to different people. Talked to people that have been abducted physically. And even one woman she gets abducted on a regular basis. She had a half human, half ET child.
Mm.
And we were running some experiment, and she would get abducted every couple of years or so to visit the child and nurture it. I mean, real people, talking about this.
Yeah, this stuff is real. It's seriously real. It seems like that one, the genetic thing that they're doing is possibly part of some sort of invasion thing where they're creating a body that's like half human, half alien to colonize Earth or something. There seems like some sort of colonize. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if in seeing planets with life is a big game that is played in third density reality, physical universe, and in the next universe out. Because there's so many planets that you could terraform or create life on, and then you genetically seed the planet with the trees and the plant life and the animal life, and then the biological life form that's going to, evolve into a complex enough life form with a brain that is evolved enough to do what the designers wanted to do. They want to be able to move into the physical body and do these different things. And so some brains will be capable of higher IQ, processing this, consciousness shifting, moving out of body, telepathy, psychic abilities. But it has to be an interface between the user, the spiritual being, and when they move into the body and take over, they have to take over the control system of the body, but also the perception systems of the body. Normal eyes and ears and nose and smell and all this stuff, more acute, better in some life forms than others. So it's all a big fun game for advanced civilizations to design and seed planets with life. And so this hybrid thing is a very normal thing. And they're always experimenting in the physical world, off planet, on planet. They're doing it here on our planet right now, but they don't like to tell us about that. And they're also doing it in higher planes, the next universe out, what I generally call the greater reality. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind too much being in a body, but I don't like it might be the entity stuff you're talking about, but I don't like the baggage you get with the body, because I had an experience when I possibly left the body, but I could still control it or whatever. It was like I was out of the body, but I was in the body, but I was detached from the baggage in the body and the fear and the stress and the trauma in the body, right? I was detached from that, and it was freaking awesome. It was like the best thing ever. But then it slowly came back. And I'm just thinking maybe that's the entities, maybe the entity communication coming back, like the BT communication coming back and feeling all the trauma. But these bodies, what I don't like is that when you let's say, yeah, it's like when you take on the character, when you take on the body as a tool, you're also taking on the mental, maybe it's the mental image pictures, but you're taking on the freaking trauma. And that was really bad. I was like, I don't like this, because it feels so nice when you have no fear at all. And a lot of people, they're so used to the fear and the trauma, the baggage that they're carrying around, they don't even realize it. They're so engrossed in it, they don't even think that they're scared. But but when you detach and you have no fear at all and no baggage, it feels so good, and you're like, wow, the penny drops. You're like, wow, inside these bodies, you tap into the mind of the body, and it's fucking horrible.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, when you get out of body, you're leaving all the case behind. Entity case and reactive mind stuff. Yeah, a lot of it. Now you're going to carry some of it. There's going to be a little bit left, but you can just feel how clean and quiet.
Yes.
And nice it is,
yeah. And I'm thinking, is that clear?
Yeah, that's what we've. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard about some people back in the old timers in the 50s or whatever. Somebody would actually, when they were testing if someone went clear, whatever, would stab someone with a bit of metal, right? And if the person, I know it sounds wild, but they would seriously do it, right? And if the person's freaking well out of body or whatever, if the person's really gone clear, they don't jump. You know what I mean? And then they'll know it was clear. They were doing some cool stuff in the 50s.
Yeah.
But do you think that there's some sort of, maybe the moon projecting energy, or there's maybe chemicals in the water supply, or I know there is, but like, is there something that the bad guys are projecting that's making us in fear all the time? Because what I notice is that en masse, like, everyone has far too much fear, and the fear controls them heaps, and they're so used to it they don't even know that they're fearful.
Yeah. In the water supply, the fluoride and probably a lot of other things. That's it's totally crazy to have fluoride in the water, but also the chemical trails, the chemtrails, are loaded with stuff. I mean, we know about the barium and the strontium and a few other aluminum in the chemtrails, but they can put anything and everything in those things. And one theory is that there's multiple chemtrail programs, but one of them is keeping us docile and unable to get angry and active, and probably throwing people into the fear band too. But another thing that can be causing the fear stuff is the electromagnetic field radiation emanating from our utility meters, called smart meters, and all kinds of other electronic devices, including monitors, especially some of these new smart TVs. Over 10 years ago, I met a guy at a party. It was a law firm was having a Christmas party, and it was a law firm that dealt in patent law. Big companies fighting over patents. Who owns the patent, right? So one of the guys happened to, at the party that I was talking to, was an engineer, electronics engineer, working on a project right now in real time. He's working on the project that the TV communicates to you telepathically or without wires, and you mentally are communicating to the TV to control it. This is over 10 years ago. The technology, and that was just a guy at a Christmas party at a patent law firm. So that the real advanced super stuff is going on in secret, and it's already been done. So I believe that the population is being influenced tremendously, and keeping them in fear and agitated and angry is definitely a thing. There are patents now that you.
Yeah, but what if there's some sort of thousands of years old alien technology, something maybe being projected from the moon or something here on Earth, that is some sort of form of that's been with us forever, and it's constantly making us feel fearful all the time?
Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah, that's excellent. That's definitely a strong possibility. I kind of believe that myself. That there's shit projected from the moon. That's why they call them lunatics. lunar situation when the moon is full. It drives people crazy.
Yeah, there's something going on there. There's freaking something going on big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. And we've just been evolving with it for ages, but it makes us scared all the time. And that's why, you know, people are worried what someone else thinks of them. And, you know, oh, should I get into that funky thing? Because, oh, my auntie's going to think strangely of me if I get into that funky thing. Or you just notice with a lot of people, you know, you suggest something that's different and they back off and they're just scared. The scaredness is too big.
Yeah.
Why did you leave the church?
Well, I was back in 1984. Things were getting really bad. I was in the Sea Org. I was on staff at ASHO, AO. I was there at the complex in LA when it was being built in '77. I was on staff in the Sea Org there, and I was at ASHO, the old ASHO. I was at LA Org when it was on Lake Street, Westlake, and AO was in a little house down the street from the LA Org. So I was there back in those days, and it was all going pretty good, but it gradually started getting weird in the policy making in the management department. And I was in the Sea Org, for the Sea organization where it was the management department. Okay, so I got out of that, and so now I'm just public. And then I had a lot of friends who were on staff in different places, and they were getting fired. Not fired. They were getting reprimanded and thrown in the rehabilitation project force and all this crazy stuff. It's like, it's getting really ruthless. And I said to myself one day, about somewhere in 1984, I said, man, this is getting crazy. I said, if they ever go after David Mayo, then I'm out of here, because that is too much, over the top. And sure enough, within like 6 or 7 months, they went after David Mayo. And David Mayo was the highest trained, best go-to guy in the technology department of Scientology, right? Hero, everybody loved him. And he was the best you could get if you wanted good counseling, spiritual counseling, right? So he was the guy, great guy. And management went after him. I met him after he was in and out of Scientology. I was at his house at a picnic or, you know, a barbecue sort of thing. And I talked to him personally, so I know it's true. Yeah, damn. I go, that's enough. I am out of here. And I had people, I lived in Los Angeles at the time, and I had friends that left the Church of Scientology and said, Rich, you got to get out. This is crazy, man. They're doing some bad stuff. L. Ron Hubbard's not in control, and L. Ron Hubbard, I mean, all this crazy stuff. And I go, I don't know, I'm loving the technology. And I get that the management is, the organization, the church part of it is a little crazy, but I'm loving the technology. No, man, it's getting really, really bad. And so I finally said, okay, show me the materials. What do you got? What's so bad? And there's a guy named John Ziegel. Did you ever hear of John Ziegel?
Yeah, but so there's like 4 videos by him that are on the internet or something like that, and they're really interesting to listen to, because the last ones or whatever, he completely does a backflip. Is that the guy? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
That's the guy. Yeah. Well, I know that guy. I worked with that guy. Vivian Ziegel was his wife, and they're both Class 8 auditors. And so he bailed. And he had these tapes, right? I guess they're on YouTube now, but back in 1984, they had just come out a few months earlier. And he's telling the whole story of what really happened behind the scenes with L. Ron Hubbard and the power grab. Pat and Annie Broker were L. Ron Hubbard's 2 personal aides, help him with all of his personal stuff and his family. I mean, in his house and his apartment, all that stuff. And then there was the other guy, David Miscavige. And then there was a power grab. L. Ron Hubbard, back just before this 1984 thing, probably about a year earlier, what had happened was David Miscavige was doing some crazy shit. He was a young kid. He was a teenager or something, maybe early 20s, but he was part of the staff. And he was doing some crazy shit. He was in a powerful position, and he was a money mover. Literally, take a suitcase full of money, get on a plane, and go across the country or across the ocean with it. And so that he was a carrier like that. So anyway, he was in a very powerful position. So what happened was David Miscavige, who is the leader of the church right now, something was going on with him. And L. Ron Hubbard got suspicious and wanted to do a security check on David Miscavige. So David Miscavige, young kid, worked on staff. L. Ron Hubbard asked David Mayo, in a personal communication, do a security check on the meter on David Miscavige, ask these questions, whatever. Just do a thorough job and get back to me. Well, because David Miscavige was so close to L. Ron Hubbard and he had so much power in the organization, he was in control of the communication lines to and from L. Ron Hubbard and David Mayo. And they were in different, LRH was in California and David Mayo was in Florida. So anyway, somehow David Miscavige got a hold of this communication between Hubbard and Mayo about catching him doing some bad things. And he goes, oh shit, this can't happen, this can't happen. And he's a very smart guy and very ruthless, Miscavige. So he started some rumors out in the outer missions of Scientology, just out in the field. He started some bad rumors about David Mayo wanting to take over from L. Ron Hubbard. Like, he's starting rumors saying that Mayo wants a power grab and take over Scientology from L. Ron Hubbard. Now, L. Ron Hubbard had this insecurity thing going, and Miscavige knew that these rumors would get to L. Ron Hubbard in a fucking flash. But it was very sneaky. He started them way out in the field. And so these rumors, sure enough, they get to L. Ron Hubbard. At the same time, L. Ron Hubbard's wanting to get Miscavige sec checked. So when Hubbard finds out that, oh, David Mayo's trying to power grab, he's trying to rip me off, he's trying to rip Scientology off for me? No way. So he flipped. So the sec check never happened, and the attack went on to David Mayo, and they grabbed David Mayo and they took him to Hemet, California, at the Sea Org, secret Sea Org, it was secret at the time, secret Sea Org base in Hemet, and put him in the Project Rehabilitation Force, the RPF, Rehabilitation Project Force, and out in the desert, and it's just a fucked up shit, man. And,
yeah, it's freaking wild.
And John Ziegel was telling the story of what happened in his tapes. They came at John Ziegel so hard, threatening him with lawsuits and fucking him up, and lawsuits is all I know. And I know John Ziegel, and I worked for John Ziegel before they grabbed him. They turned him around, but
Yeah.
he turned around and made a recant video, and I go, that's such fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I know,
man.
yeah. Yeah, he completely backflips, and you can just tell that someone's gotten to him. David, they tried to assassinate David Mayo years later. They had a little crappy assassination attempt. Yeah, David spoke to some guy, or caught some guy that had come to him with a gun that was going to try and do it. And that's what's really interesting, because, I've looked into it further, and yeah, they are willing to go. It seems that they have killed some people, and they're willing to go that far. Corporations seem to be like that. They're willing to kill people to protect profits or whatever. David Mayo, you still there? Yeah, it's cutting out a little bit. Could you hear me just then?
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah.
Okay. David Mayo seemed to have made something, or written something, or said something that he doesn't believe in the OT3 incident. He doesn't believe that it's true or something. I wonder, what's your opinion of that?
Yeah, that's an interesting. I never heard that before, but yeah, I question it. I think it might have been true for some people, and it's a good possibility, but I'm not completely buying it as the thing that happened, because you know, it never comes up anywhere until it's like front loaded, as you call it. You know, you get on OT3 and then you get, oh, this is what happened. Well, it explains a lot, but really, now it may have happened, but not everybody will have that incident. So,
well, does it? Well, here's a
whatever.
question, I guess. Does it work? I mean, that's probably what they always go on about. You know, does it work?
Well, here's the thing. I did that level thoroughly, and I did it with a Class 8 CS. Vivian Ziegel. But does it work? Well, what you can do is look at OTs all over the world, no matter what level of operating thinking you have ended off on or they're still working on. What are you seeing for results? I'm as inclined to see successful people before they got into Scientology. They're still successful, and people that weren't doing so good before Scientology still not doing so good after OT3, generally speaking. And the whole rehabilitation of intention, you know, I've been around a long time in that stuff. I was in for 14 years, and I'm not seeing that OT levels promise that we got. I do believe that dealing with entities and getting them out of your space is a valid process, and that's a thing. But did they all get the OT3 sort of implant thing? I think a lot of them did. I think it's very possible. That's a real good question. Short answer is I don't know, man.
I thought you were going to say that, and I think a lot of people would say the same thing. A lot.
Yeah.
I got a friend who's about to do OT3, and what's really cool is I'm really interested in seeing what happens. When he started doing OT2, there was a difference in him. His actual tone of voice changed, and he seemed different. It was quite interesting. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Now he seems sort of back to the way he was, I think, before OT2. But maybe he's at a higher level. But when he started doing OT2, it was interesting. It was like, oh, he's sort of changing. This is changing the being. And so I'm interested in seeing what happens on OT3. You mentioned a secret space program before, and I'd love to ask you about that. So you really reckon there are people who are experiencing the 20 and back phenomenon?
Oh yeah, I do. Definitely, I do. There's some popular ones on the internet, right, on YouTube. Randy Kramer's one. There's a few others. Corey Good. But I've given sessions to people who, were part of that.
Hey, sorry. Here's something really interesting, because I believe that Corey Good's disinformation, right? And the thing is, why would there be disinformation being put out on the 20 and back thing? You know what I mean? It's getting attacked. You see what I mean? That indicates that they're trying to cover something up. Because if the 20 and back thing was just some random thing that was made up, why would you bother doing an intelligence operation on the 20 and back thing?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. It's really, the way I look at it is the beings that do not want this information coming out about the galactic scenario, what's really going on in our galaxy right now, and what's going on with humanity. Humanity are beings being stuck in bodies, and we are programmed to not be able to think outside the Earth box. If we drop dead, we go into contrived between lives areas run by they've got their between lives la la land, and they're going to scare you with hell worlds and stuff. and they're gonna share with you got this astral levels, the mental plane, causal plane, and all this wonderful story shit. Just be a good boy. When you drop dead, you might not have to go back, and you can upgrade this. That's a compartmentalized story. There's so much more. You can just like, bing, out of there. Fuck you and your shit, man. And just go travel around like any logical person would think. If I could go out of body, I'd visit this world and that world. I'd fly through the galaxy and just look at, oh, how wonderful. Keyed out, clear, OT, just, ooh. That's logical thinking. That's the way it really is. But we are taught through all this New Age stuff and Christian stuff and all religion stuff that when you drop dead, you're going to go into this between lives place. You're going to talk to these people. You're going to look at your life. You're going to get judged by who, yourself or somebody else. Doesn't matter. You're going to look at some crappy shit and you're going to go, oh, and you're either going to feel worthy or unworthy of staying in this place. But this place isn't out of your prison. You're still on prison island. If you got out of your cell, your physical body, and then you got out of the prison walls, now you're in the non-physical realm, but you're still in prison island. You're still in the construct that is contained and controlled. And are you lucky enough to break free of that? Or are you smart enough or aware enough? And I think a lot of people are, yeah. And they don't need training to do it. Well, other people, it would help to get it.
It's really interesting because I had this incredible ayahuasca experience, and when you could say left the body or whatever, it felt like I left this universe, right? And the overwhelming impression was that I'd been conned and trapped into this life or something like that. And it was some sort of recording, like I guess the Matrix idea sort of thing. But that makes me wonder, like I didn't really perceive that Earth is a prison planet. I perceived more that my life or the physical universe is a prison. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I'm totally with you on that. It's not just the physical, not just Earth is a prison planet. The physical universe is a trap, and these human bodies are traps. That's the way I see it.
So you reckon it's prisons within prisons?
Hey, I'm going to have to take a... Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to take a break?
I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, well, we'll just leave it running.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm back.
Hey, great.
Had to fix some coffee.
All right, so we were talking about the secret space. Well, actually, I can't remember what we're talking about, but do you remember what we're talking about?
Yeah, we were talking about the 20 and back, and we were talking about Corey Good, and some people think he's a fraud and he's fake and it's creepy and it's getting pretty weird.
Well, the 20 and back, if people don't know, the 20 and back idea is that that people go to work for the secret space program and they work 20 years and then they get memory wiped, like so that they can't remember that they ever worked for the secret space program, but then they get sent back in time 20 years back to when before they started working in the secret space program. So it implies, we know that they've got mind wiping technology, but it implies that they can time travel and then also age regress. So it's freaking cool. Like, as in if it's real, it's like, wow, the secret space program is crazy advanced. But here's the thing. They've made contact with ETs. They've got ET tech. So, I mean, I don't think humans invented whatever this was, but as in, it seems like it's possible. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. Time travel, there's research right now. Time travel is a thing. It's a fucking thing, man. And you can find out more researchers than me, with credentials and stuff. Yeah, time travel is a thing. And there's technology for time travel, and then there's this psychic phenomena or the spiritual beingness for time travel. Both.
Well,
And
I want to know what you've come across with other people's cases. What's this 20 and back stuff that you've come across? What are these stories? Like, because I want to hear this data.
well, typically what happens is somebody's born with, they come into this plane with some soul contracts. They made some agreements. I don't remember what they are, but they're about 3, 4, 5 years old. They're already tagged. They have psychic ability of some kind, or their genetics is something that the shadow government wants. Yeah, the secret space program wants. The military abduction, the MyLab, bang, they get abducted when they're a little kid. And one story was, they get take straight to Langley. It doesn't matter where they're taking them, but they're taking them someplace special. And they start indoctrinating, coaching, teaching. And the kid ends up, he's a missing kid, basically. So he's inducted, and then by the time he's 16, 17 years old, he's fully trained in his specialty because of his psychic abilities or mental abilities. And then he is put into service, active duty. And then he'll do whatever he does, and usually it's an agreement, a 20-year induction into the service. And then after they live the 20 years, they live it in real time, their service term is over, they get time traveled back to when they were abducted, and they are also given a cloned body. This is one story I heard. They don't reverse the aging on the guy.
Wow.
They get a copy of the original body, but it's grown to the right age.
Yes.
3 or 4 years old.
We know they can do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
So he's put back into his a clone of the original body and back in that time period. So then he'll go back home like he never missed a day.
Okay.
And he's mind wiped of his 20 years of stuff. And usually, a lot of times, a mind wipe doesn't work. There's vestiges of memory and different things where they start remembering their stuff, and then the rest of the story comes out. The more a person can remember about their 20 and back.
So this comes up in session, and does it come up from people who are not ufologists?
Yeah, people, they just have this funny sense of things. Something's off in their life, and then they see a video on YouTube or something about the secret space program, and they go, I think that happened to me, man. There's some things about that that's suspicious, and you can check it out. You can use the e-meter to check it out and different things. And then, it's like doing a past life regression, but except you're doing sort of a future life regression on an alternate timeline too. So
they have heard about the secret space program, but they haven't heard about the 20 and back mind wiping and this body clone idea. They hadn't heard about those things though.
It can go either way. They could just be a guy or girl with a funny feeling about things, never heard about secret space program, never heard about 20 and back, maybe don't even believe in UFOs and all that, ET stuff. But then they see a video about this 20 and back, and it clicks, something triggers in their memory.
So these people, they have been exposed to this data before coming up with it in session.
Yeah. I see what you're asking. Yeah, it's not like a cold session or we're doing some past life regression thing, and then hey, it's 20 and back thing, and it just pops up during a session. No, the clients I've had and the people I've talked to, they've already heard about the 20 and back secret space program before they came and talked to me about it.
So maybe them hearing about it like helped them tap into that part of them.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, you can't put anything past them. I mean, it's just like when not like they would have invented like amazing stuff without ET help, but when you add in the ET help, it's just like, oh my God, I mean, they could just do anything.
Yeah.
What happens? Do you know exactly what happens in the between lives area? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, there's a different scenarios for different people, but a classic one is, let's just take a clueless human. They don't know, they don't care, they never really gave it a lot of thought. It wasn't a priority in their life to understand what's going on in the afterlife. They can be like 90 years old and clueless. When they drop dead, they're still going to be clueless. You're not going to get smarter just because you drop dead. It doesn't happen that way. You won't feel old, and you may, if you were feeble-minded, you may not feel feeble-minded anymore. You might be clear as a bell, but clueless. Why? Because you haven't learned anything. Whatever you knew before your life on Earth was mind wipe, so you don't remember anything before that. And during your life, the way you live it, not interested, whatever. And so you will go into default mode. If you don't have an app running, it'll go back to the default app. And you don't even know what that is, but you drop dead and there you are. And you look around and you're going to be in a place that has to do with your vibrational stuff, your fears, your worries, concerns, needs, wants, desires, ambitions, focus, interest, passion, whatever you have in this life is going to play a part. It's like a huge chalkboard with it's all these factors and, mathematical formulas and it all processes. And at the end, it equals the afterlife place you end up in. So it's just all this complexity here. But when you drop dead, you're going to wake up here. And so there's different places that people wake up. Some people will wake up dead in their own house. They drop dead in their house, or they fall, dead in their bed. When they wake up, and it can be any kind of thing. Different people, different things. But a classic one can be, oh, what just happened? They don't even know they died. They get up, they walk around, and things seem very similar to them or the same, and they don't get it. There's actually movies. I think the movie The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis is a movie that depicts this whole phenomenon. Guy's dead and doesn't know it. So that's a scenario. Another one, you will go to that loving place where your loving family is, that's not part of the matrix. It's not part of the simulated reality that we're living in, and it's not part of the belief system territory that is this prison planet matrix and force reincarnate. You just end up in a new, wonderful place. The multiverse is vast, unlimited dimensional planes, alternate realities, parallel universes, past, presents, and futures. And you will just go where you lead yourself, so to speak. So I can tell you more stories about what happened when people die.
No, but it seems like different things happen to different people, and it's not like there's one specific implant that you go through the exact. I mean, it seems like there is that tunnel of light. People go to the tunnel of light. Maybe that one is always the same, but I don't know.
No, not everybody's going to see the tunnel of light or go to the light or any of that. And it's not that they're going to avoid the tunnel of light. They just don't. It just doesn't happen. I had an out-of-body experience one time, and I was in this little realm. It was like imagine a foggy night, and at the side of the road there's a little tavern. Do drop in, and there's a little gravelly drive park where you park your car, and there's an old car parked under a street lamp, old street lamp, and it's just lit up a little bit. But you look this way and it's gray foggy, and you look around and it's all gray foggy. So all you see is this little tavern. I go, what the hell? And so I just walked in there, and there were people, about 10 or 12 people. And they were kind of bored and not knowing what to do or where to go or nothing. But it was their limbo land. They were most comfortable. This is in their life, physical life. That's what they would hang out at the cocktail lounge or the bar and talk to their buddies, get drunk. They don't have to be shit-faced alcoholics, but they could have been. But that's where they're hanging out, man. They're smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol and just hanging out. But here in this afterlife realm, I just happened to tune into this one kind of as an education, I think, because I wasn't drinking at the time myself, so that wasn't what was going on. But there I was, and I go, wow, what is this place? I didn't know. I don't have this understanding that I have now. I go, what is this place? And there's this guy just sitting there all by himself, lonely, and you can feel the depression feeling state. It's not like here, depression, but it's still kind of an empty, forlorn sort of feeling. And the people weren't really talking to each other. I go, what is this place? I know it's not my style. So I turned around, I walked out of there. And as I'm walking out, I go, how do I leave? I knew how to leave. You just kind of jump up in the air and take off flying, you'll shift consciousness out of there. That's because I believed it, and I knew that, and I felt and believed in the freedom that I have as a spirit. These people that were in this tavern, they could walk outside, and they're just not going to see gray fog. And I go, oh, fuck this, and they're going to turn around and go back in. Because they just keep walking in the gray fog, nothing's going to happen. So they're going to come back. Well, as I walked out of there, I'm looking and contemplating just leaving. And some guy followed me out. And he says, hey, could you help me? I go, what? She said, how do I get out of here?
Did you help him?
Yeah. I go, it's really not that hard. Just kind of relax into it and just focus on where you would like to be, or focus on having a guide take you somewhere. But really, all you have to do is refocus your attention and just allow it to happen, and you will and you'll arrive in the new place. It's basic, how do you travel when you're out of body sort of technique. You just go where you think. And the way I do it is teleport. Sometimes you might fly fast, or fly slow, or fly through the forest. But eventually, you can just go think of the new place, and you're in that new place. Teleport. Stargate, or not even Stargate, just consciousness shifting into a different realm. So anyway, I explained that sort of stuff to him, and he said, thank you. And I left. Yeah.
It's interesting, and they were like in bodies?
Yeah, just people. They all in their like mid 20s to mid 30s is kind of the comfortable body age that people get into.
Hey, I'd love to hear your opinion on ayahuasca, because I think that Scientologists tend to be I guess like brainwashed in Scientology, like that those teachings, like they're just like they're stuck in it and they're brainwashed. And the free zone's cool because they're not as brainwashed, but there's still people who are just like stuck in it and they're not willing to study other things or whatever. And so, they'll be like totally anti-drugs or whatever. And so I'm wondering what your opinion is of it, since you're more open to things and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't done it myself. It's probably not something I will do, but the DMT thing, it should be in the food chain. We should be getting micro doses of DMT just through natural eating. Yeah. But they pretty much made anything that has DMT in it illegal. The powers that be on this planet, and they've done it so that we cannot shift consciousness into the greater reality to understand what's being done to us. It's done on purpose. So if somebody can get some DMT in their system that will spark the pineal gland and spark the process that allows the third eye chakra thing and all that complex jazz, whatever, just pay attention and, you don't want to overdo it. If you get too much of these chemicals, they call them entheogens, psychotropics, hallucinogens, and hallucinogenics. You got different names for these things, but it's all the same stuff. It causes you to tap into the greater reality or some other alternate phenomena of existence. It's usually because of the DMT. But what you want to pay attention to is to not overdo it, because it's like we have an energy field around us and an energy shielding. Maybe we can't look out, but they can't look in. Maybe we can't get out, but they can't get in. And I've talked to people who have kind of used too much of one kind of hallucinogenic drug or another, or substance, and they kind of got cracks or breaches in their energy field. And it's okay for going out, but it allows entities in that would otherwise not be able to get into your space and fuck with your head, your thoughts and feelings, and give you visions that you don't need or want and stuff like that. So that's the only thing I'd say about that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like what I noticed from looking into it was that it was like, this is a vitamin that we've been lacking, and we've actually been grown up since a baby all the way up, and it's like we needed a bit of this vitamin to actually help our brain develop properly and become more spiritual. And without it, it's like we're born up to be retards, basically. And by them adding chemicals in the water supply, it's like exaggerated that. It's made it even worse, because it's calcified your pineal gland even more. So people grow up to be not quite right. Like, as in, it's like you walk down the street and you see someone and they're physically deformed. Well, on a spiritual level, without these substances, you've grown up and you're actually spiritually a retard and you're spiritually deformed, because we needed these substances. And so then when someone does take a dose of it for the first time, they're like, whoa, because their body, it's like for the first time it's ever received this vitamin. It's like, oh my God, it's suddenly getting it. What the hell? And then it takes a while for the person to adjust and for their brain to grow with this substance. But yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, what about the Mandela effect? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I just saw a Mandela effect yesterday. There's a mall not too far from here, and behind the mall, or above the mall, all of a sudden there's this big tall building, and it's like, I asked Doug Vila, I said, what's that building? Is that on top of the mall or behind the mall? And I mean, we go there like for the last 3 months. It's like, we're going to the mall. We eat at the mall all the time. And she said, I never saw that building before. I go, me neither. But I've seen this Mandela thing personally myself, driving by a field, and there's no big oak tree there, except today there's a big oak tree in that field. I go, that wasn't there. So yeah, the Mandela effect, Nelson Mandela, some people believe he died in prison, some people believe he got out. It's two different realities, tracks. And so they kind of named the effect of shifting timelines. There's this thing called timeline wars. Time travel and timeline wars is a thing. You can find out more about that by listening to Andrew Bartzitz. He has a big, long interview series on YouTube with Lance White, galactic historian Andrew Bartzitz. And he talks about the timeline wars. And literally, it's like those that want, like there's a main timeline and alternate timelines. And the idea is to capture, control, and dominate the main timeline. And it's back and forth, and beings going back in time and trying to tweak it and change reality. And so now you got an alternate reality track. And how do we fit into all these different realities? It gets real deep, real fast, and you have to read Seth Speaks by Jane Roberts to wrap your head around that phenomena of potential and alternate realities. But it's a thing. So we're living in all these realities and timelines simultaneously, but we have like a main timeline. And sometimes somebody will go back and they'll change something, and your main timeline is different. And theoretically, your memory is supposed to track with your new timeline. In your new timeline, let's say there's a big oak tree in the field. Well, in your new timeline, you're supposed to have memory intact that goes with your new giant tree. You're supposed to have remembered that tree. Oh, it's been there for years and years. I remember, but that memory track is supposed to go with your character in this new timeline. Sometimes it glitches and people remember, hey, I remember where that tree wasn't there. I am sure of it. And so there's a lot of those key Mandela effects that people can recall. There's a few classic. Do you know of any that come to mind?
There's heaps. There's the ones. There's the well-known ones like Mirror Mirror on the Wall. Who's the famous of them all, or whatever? That one, everyone's like, what the hell with that? But yeah, I have personal ones happen to me, so it's good. I mean, yeah, it seems like something's going on. I'm trying to think. Well, there was one where there was this nursing home, and it had two car parks, like I guess out the front of it, right? And there's a road, and so you got the car parks, and then you got the nursing home, and they have their own little entrance from the road. And then suddenly their entrance had like a picketed fence all the way across it, and then there was only one entrance, and then I think you have to drive through that car park and then go around and then go into the other car park. I remember passing it and seeing the picketed fence and being like, what the hell? Why is that car park now closed off? Like it's never had its own little driveway, and it's just weird. But what year did you notice the Mandela effects like kicking in? Because to me, I noticed it started kicking in around 2010. Like that's when I first, like it seems like, yeah. What do you notice a sort of date to it or anything?
Yeah, for me it was about 1993, 94. That's when I first observed it. It was before the turn of phrase popped up.
Yeah, so it was before. Yeah, it was like before it started becoming a thing. So you couldn't even look it up. Do you just think that you remembered something wrong or what?
No, I knew what was going on.
No way.
We jumped timelines.
What?
Yeah.
You actually, so you didn't invalidate yourself. You were just like, yeah, we jumped timelines. I would have been like, oh, I must have bad memory or something.
Well, I had some out-of-body experiences where I was it's not like a time cop, the movie Time Cop with Van Damme, but it was more like a detective, private enterprise, private eye. And in this, I'm wide awake, man. I'm running around and I'm in it. It's not the physical world, right? But
so you say this is a dream. What'd you say? Is this a dream at all?
No, out of body experience.
Oh, okay.
Different, wide awake. It's like, whoa, look, what I'm here. Oh my God, what am I doing?
That's so cool.
And what you do is you merge with another aspect of yourself. This body falls asleep. You can merge with another life you're living. You just blend right in with it. And now you're living that life with the other aspect of yourself. And it's not like a foreigner in your body. Like, who is this? No, it's just you with more memories. And you have a memory now of an alternate life kind of blending, right? So anyway, I'm in the middle of rescuing a guy. The bad guys caught this scientist guy or something and took him out of time. They want to hide him. They can't kill him for some reason. They don't want to, but they wanted to hide him so he couldn't get found. They moved him in time into an old building, an old rundown hotel in a room, and he's tied to a chair, a wooden chair. And I'm in there, and I just noticed myself, I'm untying the guy. And he's like, who are you? And I said, I'm here to help. And I just knew. It's just a knowing. I said, I've come from your future. I mean, I come from your timeline, and I'm here to help you get back. Because they tried to lose this guy in time, so he couldn't do this, whatever experiments he was doing and awakening up the world. So anyway, I untied him, and I helped move him back to his time. And when I woke up from that out-of-body experience, I'm going, what just happened? And this is back in the 90s, back in the 90s. I'm going, what was that? That was, I'm a time traveler too now? And I'd already had the thing where I'd come from the future. I'm one of those guys that have sort of a weird memory of having come from the future, back in time, timeline wars, right? And here I am, ta-da, I'm here, tweaking the timeline so it's different, it's better. And I've had a few other out-of-body experiences that have to do with groups of people gathering together to scan. There's lots of timelines, and you pick one out, the leader will pick it out, and everybody will focus on that, not just the one timeline, but that one nexus point, that one key time in that timeline's experience, and you change it together. You focus, somebody lives, somebody dies, something gets invented, some mass awakening, the Beatles come on board, or Martin Luther King, or, something that is supposed to help change the future of that world, that timeline. So I've been involved in those while wide awake. So I was kind of familiar with the whole weirdness of time. Yeah.
Cool.
It's amazing.
Do you know anything interesting about Crowley and Salima or anything like that? Or
and who?
Crowley, Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley, yeah. Jeff said he's one evil, black-hearted dude into that whole do as thou will kind of guy, and he established a cult, satanic group as well. And yeah, I heard that LRH knew him, knew of him or something. I don't have any of those details, but yeah, bad boy.
Yeah, no, from what I've looked into him, it seems like he was trying to set people free from the shackles of Christianity, because Christianity is like a spiritual control system. But he was trying to get people to basically to be able to be self-determined, which is kind of similar to Scientology, really, be able to make postulates.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Strange Angel TV series is really interesting to watch. Yeah, I really recommend it. Do you have a cool win that you got in session in doing like Scientology? Like any particularly interesting thing that popped up that was cool to talk about? Maybe your first out-of-body experience or anything? Or?
No, the funny thing is, I got into Scientology so I could get out of body. That's what's the selling point. And I ended up becoming an auditor instead. And 500 hours of Dianetic auditing back in the 70s. I started 69, 70 is when a lot of, it was before the student hat thing came out and all that stuff. So I learned how to do Dianetic auditing and got involved in that. But I got into Scientology to learn how to get out of body. And I got out of body once or twice during session, but only momentarily. It wasn't until I got out of Scientology in 1984, 85, that I got a hold of Robert Monroe's book on Journeys Out of Body and followed those techniques, and I got out. And I started getting out more and more using those sort of techniques. And then I supplemented it with auditing, different kinds of auditing techniques and stuff, and that I think helped. Yeah, entity work helped. Yeah.
Cool. And so when someone goes to you for assistance, right, you're you're not really delivering Scientology, but you're delivering stuff that's like Scientology helped you, your understanding of the spiritual world.
Yeah. I let go of the whole Scientology thing years and years and years ago. I don't use the terms except, an auditor by definition is a listener. I'd like to use that. Keywords like that, but I don't talk about. I don't throw around the word Dianetics or Scientology or any of the church terminology, and I don't use their processes or techniques or anything. I do entity work. I help people understand what entities are and how to deal with them and how to let them go. But I use some of Jeffrey Filbert's stuff, and then others, Captain Bill Robertson's. I just learned a lot about the whole entity thing, in and out of that. But I don't promote any of that, the auditing or Scientology stuff. I don't use the terminology. I'm very familiar with the terminology. I hardly ever use it anymore. Every once in a while. But you notice how we can talk in Scientology terms for 10 minutes. Right now, we could start. And people wouldn't have a fucking clue what we were talking about, would they?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like it's got its own language. So it's like what I'm saying is, for someone who's listening to this who's just done Scientology, basically there's other tech out there, and you've studied other tech and Scientology tech, and you've found something that works, and that's what you help people with, whatever works.
Yeah. A big thing that's working these days is soul contract revocation. Basically, it's a way to do release work, releasing your limiting beliefs. And before you can believe something, you can hear something, and you go, I don't believe that, so you don't agree. So you can hear something else, you don't know if it's true or not. I believe that. I believe that. So you're agreeing with that belief. So then you walk through life and you find you have some limiting. I can't get out of body. What's wrong? Well, you believe you can't get out of body? Right. Well, do you agree that you can't? Yeah, I agree. I cannot get out of body. Listen to me. Agreements. So we weren't taught that in Scientology, but agreements are pretty core, basic. We taught that agreements, reality is agreement. Agreement is reality, makes our reality. But as a process, I'm sure there's techniques that address the subject of agreements, but as a key point in what's causing our life to be the way it is, agreements, the ones we made here or the ones we made before we got here, was really not a big thing. I found out about Cameron Day and Andrew Bartzett's, both talk about soul contracts. I go, what is that? So I tried Andrew Bartzett's techniques for soul contract revocation. I tried Cameron Day's techniques for soul contract revocation, and it started working really well. And then I started using everything I learned about facilitation and getting a list of items and assessments of this is an issue and this is an issue. Which issue should I do? I better do this issue first. And this issue is kind of big. Let's break it down into 3 issues. Oh yeah, and I'll do this issue first. And this issue has 4 or 5 different items. In other words, 4 or 5 or 10 agreements connected to this. So then I'd revoke all the agreements that had to do with this issue. Issue blows away. I go, hey, this soul contract revocation really works. You stop agreeing to stuff, and it changes your reality. It just has to. It just does. And I go, wow, you know what? I can make a course out of this. Not the technique itself. That's Cameron Day's 14 steps. But I could teach people how to use Cameron Day's 14 steps the way I do it. And I go, yeah. So I made a course that kind of sets it up and explains each different step in the revocation process. I mean, Cameron Day's, he's removing implants and imprints and overlays and frozen emotion and identities. It's all part of his technique, but he just like laid it out and gave it to people for free. I go, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right. So I did, and it was like working like, wow, this is good stuff. So I just did some more and some more. I go, I could teach people this. I could sell this on my internet, on my website. So I started doing that, and so people can now buy the course. And oh, I see how you do this. I see why it works, how it works. And so that's how I kind of blended what I learned way back when. But I don't use the terms. I don't use the techniques or technology or anything with Scientology. They don't, don't need it, don't want it. I mean, I got all the Filbert. If you want the whole Scientology bridge, you can get Jeffrey Filbert's book online. Download it.
Is that called The Pilot?
No, it's called Excalibur Revisited.
Yes, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you can, if you want it, if you don't have all that stuff and you want it, it's online for free right now on Jeffrey Filbert. It's Jeffrey, Geophry or something. Filbert with an F. Yeah, it's all there.
Cool. So if someone wants to go to you, they go to you for entity help and soul contract help. Is that right?
Yeah, and out of body travel. I have a course on how to, all the stuff I learned how to get out of body, and it's a course online.
And you do this over Zoom.
Yeah. When we do sessions, they can get private tutoring or coaching and assistance with these subjects: secret space program, entity handling. I taught Akvila, and I continue teaching her all these things that I've learned. And she's just literally, she's first time here, planet Earth. She's like an alien. But just 22-year-old girl that is psychic as can be. OT. She's an OT. Use those. She can get out of body like that. She can see entities. She can do release work on herself, entity stuff. She can do them on other people. She can see them. She's been seeing them since she was a little kid. She can.
Is she one of these? What's the word for them? They're called star seeds, or maybe star seeds, or they're basically here on a mission.
Yeah, star seeds, indigo kids, crystal kids, diamond kids, that sort of thing. Yeah,
they're bringing about the mass awakening.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's happening.
Yeah. So, when she goes out of body, she can live a year over there in one night. I have total recall of it all.
Really? Yeah. So she just full on experienced a year somewhere else.
Yeah, full blown, every detail. I can sit down with her right here. I could sit down with her, like if she was right here, and I'd say, hey, let's do a thing. Let's explore a reptilian spacecraft. Okay. And I would be her guide. I don't call it an auditor. I'll be her guide. And I'll kind of have a target. It's like remote viewing on steroids. And she will tune in, and when she sees the space like that, she sees a spacecraft like that. Every detail. I mean, it's a full-blown 3D holographic virtual reality, like visuals. I mean, she's.
Hold on a second. That's because she's actually visiting that. She's actually seeing it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a memory. She's shifted consciousness. She's tuned into it.
In present time, she is at this thing.
Yeah. And she can talk to them.
Yeah.
The beings on the spacecraft. I mean, I've done it not just with her, but I've done it with other people. I call it the guided out-of-body experience. Some people with great visuals can do this. They don't know they can do it, but when I guide them, they go, oh my God. And sometimes when I'm guiding them and they're interacting with somebody in a different room, they don't know that it's an out-of-body experience. They don't know what the hell. They just know I'm guiding them and they're seeing the visuals. And there's a point in it where something snaps in their head and their denial thing blows off and they go, oh my God, I'm really here. And so it's just a thing, but a lot of people have that, but Agvila's got it on steroids. And, she can talk to the people, I say, well, what's he wearing? Oh, he's got this blue kind of jacket, fancy thing with gold trim on it. Like, really, can you see it? Yeah. What kind of buttons? Oh, and she's just, it's what we've always wanted. We got promised we'd get whole track recall, full, vivid detail. She's got that. I mean, it comes natural to her now. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's funny because the skeptics will just, they could not handle listening to this interview, which is It would be funny. I'd like to see how long that would last. But they would be thinking though, why aren't you doing this to find out the lottery numbers or the share market and trying to make money from it?
I've been thinking about that, but there's some finer details. Oh, and there's some of the other remote viewers, I think, technical intuition guys might be working the stock market with the remote viewing. But what you have to understand about reality, and when you do this kind of out-of-body experience and look, it's like, let's see, you're sitting this is a metaphor, you're sitting in your house at your desk and you've got virtual reality setup going. You're typing in next Tuesday at the park by the lake and the fountain, and you tune in to next Tuesday Lake Fountain and you see it. Well, two things, and there's more than two things, but just two things you got to look at is whatever reality you tuned into and you're looking at what's happening at the park next Tuesday, and you say, oh, look, they're having a band is playing live, and you see it. So you are seeing the future. Band is playing next Tuesday. Now, next Tuesday comes along. You could have seen the real, true future, except right at the last, the band changes their mind. And so there's alternate realities that keep splintering off. So the trick is to not just see a future, but make sure you're seeing the right one. And then it's all on you, or if it's me doing it, it's all on me. I got to stay locked into the future that I'm looking at and I choose to experience.
Yeah, because there's parallel universes, it creates a problem.
Yeah.
When it comes to future.
Mm-hmm. It's completely doable.
Yeah.
It's just like, the whole law of attraction sort of thing, or create your own reality. Neville Goddard is a good teacher for manifest your reality by you visualize it, you feel it, you let it go. And you let it go so you don't add your second postulate and third postulate on it, change shit up. You just get it the way you like it and you feel it and you let it go. And then it comes to pass, whatever you're manifesting or working on.
Yeah, that's how you sort of tune into that. Yeah.
Yeah, the same with lottery tickets and stuff. You want to win the lottery, but you got to watch out for the mind, the subconscious mind. I don't even like to call it reactive mind much anymore. We know what we're talking about. Your subconscious mind can throw thoughts at you and second and third postulates and all this stuff, and you've just messed up your magic formula for the winning lottery ticket.
So when you're making the postulate or whatever, when you're tuning into the parallel universe of your desire, it's like you do it after some meditation and stuff when you're like nice and clean and pure, so you don't have this case coming in and fucking you up.
Right. And let's say you're here and you want this reality here of winning lottery tickets, these numbers, not these alternate realities with all these different numbers. You want this. And so you do remote viewing or go out of body and look into the future. And what if you saw this future? You go, okay, that's those numbers. Those are the numbers I want. But you're over here, and now you want to stay on this track. You want to stay here, and this is you winning the lottery. If you about here 2 days before the lottery, you go, oh, I hope this works. Well, you just change realities to you're over here to hope it works instead of working, and so you just fucking missed it, didn't you?
I kind of use this to actually make a postulate come into reality that was incredible. This wasn't like, I don't know, catch a bus on time or get a good steak or something. I mean, this was like a big postulate, a big one. And I used it, I kind of like I really had this desire, really had the thought. Months later, something came up, and it was like, whoa! It was like win, win, win. I can't say it, but it was just like, it was amazing, and it like confirmed my faith in like postulates, being magical, actually creating reality. It also made me wonder, though. It also made me believe a bit in God, in that, like, God or angels or whatever, in that they will give me what I need or whatever, or they'll assist me. It's sort of, it's I'm a little bit, not really sure which is what is the situation, but I imagine that when you go to mess with postulates, if you do have good angels or whatever, then they will assist you with postulates that are in your higher self good or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if you start postulating and start trying to go into a parallel universe where it's a future that you don't realize it, but it's actually bad, then you might not be able to pull it off, because some angels might come in and stop that, because they're like, what the fuck are you wanting that to have happen, you idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah, they can put their thoughts in your head, positive, supportive ones, or negative, unsupportive. And then if you don't know that it's not your thought, you can adopt the thought as your own, even though you didn't want to. I hope this works. Oh, no, it's working. Now second postulate, third postulate. It's usually the second postulate that will stick anyway. The lie persists.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that sometimes if someone's running into difficulty with this sort of stuff, it's not a bad thing. It's actually, you just don't realize why you're getting blocked, because you're just not aware. You're not smart enough, and you're not aware of the future and what's going to come, and you're actually making a bad postulate, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anything anyway. So your website is Rich West, is it?
Yeah, richwest.net.
Yeah, and that's how people contact you?
Yeah, there's a little form on the side. You can ask questions, or you can get a course and different things like that. Or at the bottom, you scroll down a little bit, and there's consulting sessions live on Zoom with me and everyone.
Yeah, and the YouTube channel is, what's that again?
Rich2150X.
Okay, and the second last question, with that channel, have you noticed that when the powers that be started messing with YouTube like 4 years ago or whatever, that it's sort of like, is it still growing, or is it like, has it been capped or something, or have they stuffed up, like, are you making money off it or what?
Yeah, I'm trying to, but I didn't even start monetizing it till a couple of months ago. For like 6 or 7 years, it was not monetized. And I wouldn't allow any commercials or anything. But yeah, it's kind of necessary these days. But no, I used to get. I've uploaded over 1,000 videos. It's just me.
Whoa, that's a lot.
After a couple of years or whatever. My channel got hacked, and over 300 videos got deleted and lost. So it's okay. I started over again. So now I've got about 800 or more videos. The first hacker was, I think, just a fun-loving hacker in the hacker community. I tracked him down a little bit to his hacker forum, but yeah, I don't think it was an organized plan to stop me back then.
But why?
Just,
but what?
I was.
So you reckon some person trying to have fun, but it's just like, why the hell would they hack you?
Right. Yeah. Well, obviously he didn't. Something about my message he didn't like back then, or thought I was a good target. So yeah, there's that. Yeah.
It's interesting because it's not like you're making anti-vaccine videos, because obviously then the drug companies would want to hack them and pull them down. And if you're making ones that are attacking the Church of Scientology, obviously their OSA would want to get in there and take you down. But it's like, why would someone want to hack your account?
Right. It was just, I think he was going after anybody he could. He'd pick some targets and then, did it. Anyway.
But what about,
because I got over 800 more.
But have you noticed that that YouTube's changed like 3-4 years ago?
Yeah. I was saying, yeah, I have like over 800 videos up, and whether I make a new video or not, I would get 1,500 views a day, every day, average, a little more, a little less, every day, whether I upload a video or not. And if I upload a video, it'll be even more. One day, about a year and a half ago, I don't know when it was, 350 views. So what the hell is that? And it's never really, it kind of came up and then went back down. I got shadow banned or algorithms or something.
Shadow banned, yeah.
So now I average about 5. If it's a video or it's a good topic, I'm getting about 500 and maybe 1,000 views over a period of 3 days. Yeah, the dynamics, the metrics have all changed. I'm gonna get 1,000, 1,500 views if I work my ass off and come up with a good topic. But I have 36,000 subscribers, but they're not getting notified.
And they're not like before these changes. You were having things growing, right? So subscribers were growing, right? Are they still growing, or did they stop?
They stopped. I lose subscribers every day, usually. It stopped around 36,000, and it won't go up. You know, you'd think it would keep going up a little bit. I lose subscribers and more all the time.
Yeah, so it means that you're getting each day, some people are clicking on and subscribing, but at the same time, every time they click subscribe, I reckon they're unsubscribing other people.
Yeah. Or even them. Yeah. Some they will unsubscribe you when you subscribe automatically. You resubscribe, they can unsubscribe you again and again and again. Agvila has one great fan. He said he'd subscribe and get unsubscribed. He subscribed, unsubscribed 7 times. So yeah, it's a thing. They're really doing it.
Yeah, they've changed it.
Yeah, and there's impressions on the side. Used to be you could Google out-of-body experience or OBE or OPE on YouTube, and you'd see 3 or 4 of my videos pop up because I was talking about that a lot. Not so much anymore. Or you would think if I have a video up over here with 800 videos, you're going to see I'm over here. And it used to be there were suggestions of other videos, similar topics as my video, or whatever video you're watching. You know, it could be watching Red Dead Redemption. You know, over here, you're going to have some stuff about Red Dead and some others. Not anymore. Not anymore. You might see one video of mine suggested on the side, but you have to scroll down a little way. It's not on the first page. So yeah, they're definitely doing that stuff. I think it has to do with content I'm talking about.
Yeah, and it seems like they're promoting mainstream media sources like CNN and all that sort of stuff. Like basically the corporations are taking over YouTube. Yeah, that's interesting to hear that it's so obvious, like that thing where the guy's clicking on it, then it unsubscribes. Like it's not even doing it in a shifty way. It's just like, it's just so in your face, like, F you, we're controlling things here. You know, it's just obvious.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Is there anything you would like to say or ask before I end this interview?
Hey, it was a really enjoyable interview. You're an excellent interviewer, and
thanks.
You can tell you're well trained and skilled in the art of communication. And I enjoyed the topics we talked about, and I had a good time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cool. We covered some interesting stuff. I think that that secret space program stuff, that means something to me, because it's like, that's really deep. And the fact that, you know, you're coming across people who have these memories, it says something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. The secret space program's cool.
Yeah, cool. I think it's pretty neat stuff. I think it's legit and it's real. Yeah.
I would I would try and get hired, but I just wouldn't want to get my memory wiped.
Oh, well, it's what I've understood about it. Yeah, it can be a great adventure, but it's servitude, really. It's not, you're not like a free soldier.
Yeah.
You can get put in grunt job for like 5 years. You don't have anything to say about it. Anyway, a different story. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah. So just quickly, so they do stuff like they'll fly a UFO or something like that, or they'll work as a geneticist, or like, is that the sort of stuff that they do when they're on this 20 and back program?
Yeah, you're assigned to whatever you're good at, and you might have to put in your time. Just your first few years, just doing whatever kind of work they want you to do. One girl was she was a pilot, but for like 5 or 10 years, she was a freighter pilot. Boring as fuck.
Yeah.
No fun in it.
Yeah, it's not like you're led into the secret space program and they say, we know all this, and they tell you everything. They just let you in and tell you what it is for you to drive that freighter. You know what I mean? That's all you know.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for being on the show, Rich.
Oh, thank you, Andy. It was a great time. Maybe we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, thanks. See ya.
Okay, so that was the interview with Rich West. I hope you liked it. His YouTube channel is Rich215X or something. Just in case you didn't hear that. So now, if you liked that interview, then maybe you should request a guest. Send me the contact details of a person that you would like to be interviewed. Maybe you could arrange the date. Also, send me your Scientology jokes and success stories. I might read them in the show. AndyNolch@hotmail.com. That's Nolch like mulch, but without the M and the U, because I've got no misunderstoods. It's time to end off the podcast. But before I end off, I've got to end off with a quote. It's a short one. It's from LRH. Get ready. Are you making life, or is life making you? That's a good one, huh? Are you playing the game, or are you not? Are you being a piece in the game? Are you being pushed around, or are you playing it? I think you should be making life. And I don't think you should be fearful. I don't think you should let your fear of trying new things, or fear of, I don't know, but just a scaredness. Oh, this scared, oh, that. It means that you're not doing things. A person who's making life is not fearful. Fearful is bad. It's closed-minded. It's surfacky. It's fixed ideas. It locks you into things. So you don't want to be like that. There's nothing wrong with feeling fearful, but there is something wrong about doing something about the fearful feeling. Actually letting it affect your behavior. Not. You don't want to let fear control you. You just want to go and try new things. That's it for today's show. It's time for you to climb back out of this rabbit hole, out of this interesting Scientology world. I've been your host, Andy Nolch, the Space Cowboy. You have been listening to the Indie Scientology podcast. So remember, what you thought was impossible is possible.